I'm coming from an acute care currently. I have over 27 years in working as a nurse. I started when I was a student working in long-term care. I worked step down the floors. And I have a father has dementia, is now in long-term care, and we tried to do the home care move. And another parent that is waiting surgery and the long waits for surgery. So I feel like I have a lot of different reaches, and I feel like we're kind of missing. It's important, I think, to one, make a better life for nurses, and two, to make a better life for the patients. Patients in acute care, we are reactive, and I think as far as safety, dementia and mental health, while it's all concentrated in emerge and psych units, it's everywhere. Mm-hmm. And frequently we feel unsafe. And I think that's a huge piece. And so I guess safety regulations in all levels. I have a father who has dementia, and while we tried our hardest to keep him in his own home, and he should have been supported, was living in an apartment. He's deaf or partially deaf, can't hear the ring on the phone, can't coordinate the numbers to let them in. So they just give us a call and say, sorry, we weren't able to give his medications, and on they went. And it's like, I'm at work, like he's got hypertension and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, so that piece, I guess I encourage you to think about how you would keep people with mental disabilities in their own home rather than housing them. He's now in a long-term care home, got COVID, has been put in isolation for 10 days. He has no idea how to turn on the TV, turn on the radio. There has not been one person in to see him other than to give him meals. So one of the pieces that I notice is that the PSWs don't have any education with regards to dementia care. And it's a huge thing to just know that you just have to keep trying, have the patience. But there's a huge education piece that I don't quite know how giving money to certain things, certain groups without the safety standards and the ratios are helpful. And I encourage you to think and bring that back, because nurses, one, we need a quality of life, but so do the patients. And nurses' quality of life, if you think about, for me, 12 years of my life has been not even meeting the raise in taxes, etc. Like, we're at 1%, where the cost of living is going up way more than that. So basically, we don't have a standard of, a reasonable standard of life, and we're very skilled people. And it's very disrespectful. Like, my husband's a teacher. We kind of consider ourselves equivalent, but yet he makes way more money, has a couple months off in the summer, and not to say that they have a lot to deal with on their own, they have their own issues. But it's just like, I cannot believe, he always says to me, I cannot believe the decisions that you have to make on a daily basis. And the crappy life of 12-hour shifts or 16-hour shifts, or sorry, your vacation's been canceled, and I'm sorry, young nurses, they're coming into the profession, and yes, it's important to attract them, absolutely. But guess who's carrying them? There's no education, they don't have time. It's the senior nurses, and it's a draw on us. It's a draw because the physicians can't come to the bedside. They're too busy. Their residences, we're teaching. Like, it's horrible. The residents are learning from the nurses. Mm-hmm. It's like, the whole system is so broken in so many different avenues. This is just recently, so it's on the top of my head. But when my father moved into a long-term, or into a private retirement home, So we thought this was going to be a better thing. There is one nurse practitioner that was covering 6 retirement homes because there is no physician. Currently, that person left. Again, another nurse practitioner comes in. He comes in from Toronto once a week to deal with all the issues, and this is like a huge retirement home. So there needs to be like some standards in place, not just money thrown at the different areas. I know I didn't give you a question, but I just want to give you like a fuller picture of how broken it is. And it's not one thing, it's like looking at the whole thing and making, I guess, better calculated decisions.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I wanted to thank you for sharing that story too. A lot of what you said about your position and your family right now reminds me of my mom and her caregiver position that she's currently in. Even though she's not a nurse, she has a unique, probably not even very unique when you think about the current population of Canada, the situation many of us are in. She has a gritty vantage point on the shortcomings of the interactions between all the different kinds of professionals in the healthcare system. I do think that a lot of these, I guess, holes that we find people falling into, and a lot of these question marks, and a lot of, well, what do we do in this kind of situation? There doesn't seem to be a protocol here. I do see that to be a symptom of it being undernourished, and I think in conjunction with reducing the staffing crisis, really targeting that, and also looking at the ways to keep people at home and, nourish a home-based approach, let people age with dignity and independence, and the social and mental sources of stimulation from their current communities that are so vital to keeping them healthy in the first place. I do think that the grassroots approach in conjunction with a more nourished system will clarify and allow us to troubleshoot and target areas where we need a protocol, we need a policy, we need some standards. And the Green Party absolutely would want to, I guess, weave a better fabric of how all of these healthcare workers interact with each other so that we don't have situations like what you described.